Hello everyone. So today my presentation is going to be about how black trans people are depicted in the media. First up, we have the famous documentary Paris is Burning. It was released in 1990. It followed the lives of people in ballroom at that time. This movie put black queer folks on the map. It gave America a look at what was going on behind the scenes because balls were typically held at night. That movie showed the life of Octavia St. Laurent, a transgender woman who wanted to be a model, and they showed her going to auditions in the film. I want to give mention to Venus Extravaganza. She was tragically murdered while the movie was still in production. Even though she's not black, she still was a trans woman who was murdered, and her life meant something to many people. To continue, in 2019 alone, at least 22 trans women were murdered in the summertime. It was hard for me to even go on social media because every time I would go on, I see a name and a hashtag of my sisters who died in tragic ways. First, in the beginning of 2019, Dana Martin, only 31, a black transgender woman, was fatally shot in Montgomery, Alabama on January 6. Darnisha Duncan Boyd, an Alabama-based trans advocate, said that she was a person that was loved by many. Ashanti Carmen, only 27, a black transgender woman who was fatally shot in Prince George County, Maryland on March 30th. Claire Legato, only 21, a black transgender woman who was fatally shot in Cleveland on April 15th. Malaysia Booker, 23, a black transgender woman who was fatally shot in Dallas on May 18th. Paris Carmen, only 20 years old, a black transgender woman who was among 3 people killed in a horrific anti-LGBTQ shooting in a house in Detroit on May 25th. Bailey Reeves, only 17, a black transgender teen who was fatally shot in Baltimore, Maryland on September 2nd. This one hit different because I just turned 18 in May, and this girl, only 17, barely starting to live life. Like, she didn't even make it to prom, bro. It hit different, bro. It's an epidemic. My sisters are getting murdered in the streets, dying at young ages. So much potential to do great things in the world, and tragically, their lives were just gone. They lost their lives all over transphobia, something that shouldn't even exist in today's society, honestly. Okay, now, man, I know that was tough to talk about, but now we're on to something more happier. Now, in 2019, I should say 2020, we have the show Pose. Pose takes us back to New York in the 80s. We follow the lives of trans women and other queer people as they navigate the social climate at the time, the crack epidemic, and also the HIV epidemic. 3 main characters in the show are HIV positive. There's another show on Viceland called My House. It takes you to the current ballroom scene in New York and all over the East Coast. In the show, you'll see all the current houses, battle it out, and you'll also see the iconic houses from Paris is Burning that have stuck around and have reached icon status. On social media, we have Trans in Color. That's geared for trans men of color, and they help you with basic needs like food, housing, and mental health services. My mentor, Danny Farrell, started this, and through him and Trans in Color, it allowed me to stand tall in my identity. I'm Lucas Walker, and thank you for listening to my podcast.